Good morning, everyone. This is Don and Sally with Maranatha Adventures. This video is going to be about comfort gear around camp. And what we're going to start off with in this is we just recently picked up some new chairs. Our old chairs, after 11 and a half years, kind of like died on us. So anyways, the chairs that we're going to be talking about in this video was that I originally wanted to go with the 23-0, but they were not available in the States until sometime in December. So what we did is we went with Alpha Camp. And I was really amazed by the construction and quality of Alpha Camp. I didn't think too much of their bags for the chairs, so I kind of tossed them. But what amazed me about Alpha Camp was the width and the height of them and the quality of the chair itself. Nice wide cup holder. It has two pouches in one, which is nice. And for me, being long-legged or tall, it works out perfect. The other thing is when you sit in it, you don't sink and sag. That was one. It also has a padded mesh back, but it's not a mesh that goes through. That's one of the things I liked about it. Yeah. The other thing, and what I liked about Alpha Camp was, and their chairs, was how they stay in a closed position when you store them. They have this little metal clasp and hooks onto a little stud, and it keeps them together, so there's no bungeeing them or tying them off or whatever, or trying to slip them inside of that bag. The other has a nice carrying strap. What Sally's going to talk about is cold weather style camping with this product that we started using, and we found out how happy we are with those.
This is City Bonfire Blanket, and it comes, when you finally put it all together, it comes in this mesh bag that's actually attached to the blanket or chair cover. So when you put it on, it'll fit all different size chairs. And in the wintertime, it makes it nice that if you do have a chair that has a mesh back, you have some insulation for your back and your arms and your seating area. It also acts as, when you go to put it away, the bag that you see right now. We get really cold weather in Arkansas, so this is designed actually for a chair cover. If you want extra warmth, we bring blankets and we cuddle up with those. But where this really shines, if you could hold that, Dawn, is the backing is vinyl. So when we go to sleep at night, before we go to bed, we reverse this so that when you wake up in the morning, if there's a heavy dew or mist, this isn't soaking wet, and this is not absorbent to the moisture, and you just wipe it down, and then you reverse it, and you got a dry seat cover again to start your day. It works really great.
What I also want to get into is the warm weather camping. And the things that we use in warm weather camping for comfort is a box fan. And this box fan is a 12-volt fan. It's made by the company called Fan-Tastic fan. And this particular fan is called the Endless Breeze. It's 12 volt, has a nice long cord. And what we usually do is when we have the awning kicked out on the camper, I'll bring out a real small folding table, and this fan will sit on it. What it does, it just blows that nice cool air It's 3 speeds. So, and I'm going to read for some of the specs I've written down here in front of me. And the fan is a 14-inch by 14-inch in size. And it's probably roughly around 2 inches thick. It pulls very little amps. Very little amps. On low, it pulls 1.2 amps. On medium, it pulls 1.6 amps. And on high, it pulls on 2.6 amps. This fan here, we've been using this fan for as long as we've been overlanding. When we had our first camper I built, which was a rooftop tent trailer from a copycat Bantam Jeep trailer. We used to strap this with bungee cords to the bows inside the rooftop tent and have it blow on us during the nights while we were sleeping. And then we would take it out and plug it in. Like I said, it's a very low amperage draw. It's made by Fan-Tastic Fan, who makes the camper fans. And it's called the Endless Breeze. The other fan that we use, and inside the camper here, is a small 7-inch fan. It's made by Hella. And it could be hardwired or it could be portable. I made it so it was portable. These fans are made in Germany and they're designed for sailboats. And they're 12 volt. This fan it's 2 speeds. This fan on low pulls a 0.5 amp an hour. On high, it doesn't even pull an amp an hour. So it's positional going this way as well as up and down. It's fantastic. This fan here puts a nice cool breeze. The nice thing about it is that it doesn't hardly pull any battery power, 12 volt power from it.
And it makes hardly any noise.
And it's quiet. It's whisper quiet. I mean, you just can sleep right through it. The nice thing, it doesn't come with a case. I had, again, like in the last video I talked about, was the Overland Gear Guy. And he made the bag for it. And he makes also the custom labels that are Velcro backed, just like I talked about in the other video. We keep a lot of our gear stored in his product line. It's fantastic. It's just top notch, top quality. Now from warm weather, we're getting into cold weather. This camper here never came with a heating system, had nothing in it. It was just a blank cargo style type square drop camper with nothing in it. That was one of the reasons why I choose this brand, so I could build it up the way I wanted to build it up. And the only thing it came with was with the air conditioner, 5,500 BTU air conditioner in the front. This is when I started researching for heating systems for this, because my wife and I, we love cold weather camping. We're not fair weather campers. We're all year round. And so on my first camper, I started using a lot of AT Overland, Mario stuff on that first camper build. And so I was happy with the stuff that I was buying and the gear that he was making. And so I used a lot of his gear on this camper. Mario at the time was offering a portable forced air propane powered heating system that was thermostatic controlled on demand. And I love this thing. This thing is 6 going on 7 years old. And it's propane powered. The forced air heating in it, the furnace inside of it is 5,500 BTUs. And it houses in this small toolbox. that Mario, you could buy, when Mario was offering them at the time, completely built or in the kit. I bought the kit for him. So it has a return, a return air or an air, inlet air, and then the exhaust and the propane quick release is on the opposite side. Nice long 12-volt cord. This particular unit pulls 1.4 amps. And the 12-volt, it powers the igniter, the fan, and all the electronics inside of it. And this particular unit has so many safety programs inside of it. So it will shut down the light on the thermostat, which is mounted on the inside wall of this camper. Will flash a code and you just look up the code. The other thing is that it has a nice long cord that I could fish it through the teardrop vents ports that I installed on the front of this camper. And then it hooks up to the thermostat that's on the wall. This particular line is the supply line, or otherwise where the heat comes out, and it slides in through here. The other acts just like your household system, a return. So what it does is it recycles the heat in the cabin of that camper. So you're constantly having dry heat. And we all know that campers and rooftop tents have condensation. And we all know where the condensation comes from. But this system here, I like about it is we have very minimal condensation. The condensation is usually on the inside frame, a little bit around the doors and the window, and a little bit on the single pane windows. Not like saturated. I'm talking you could be able to wipe it down with a paper towel and now be done with it.
Yeah.
The other thing is that people ask me, what's the consumption on this? In 8 hours, it won't even use a pound of propane because it's on demand. It's on demand. Once it heats up inside the camper, then the system shuts down until it drops below your set temperature, just like your household thermostat. Then it'll go through a purge cycle, removing any unburnt propane gases inside the combustion chamber, and then fires back up. The camper heats back up to its set temperature that you set it at and shuts off. Normally on the average, it doesn't kick on every 20 minutes.
If that.
If that. And most of the times, believe it or not, we set this camper at 68 degrees inside. Because we're heating up an area that is 6'4", less than 6 foot wide, a little over about 4 foot tall area. So that's all the surface area that we're actually, or area, square footage area that we are heating up inside this. Makes it nice. We crack the window, get some fresh air in, but otherwise it's a fantastic system. Unfortunately, Mario doesn't offer these no more. But Proplex USA builds them, not like this, but they put them inside of a plastic case now and offer them. And I think the last I saw, which was on there about a month ago, I think they're offering about $1,800 for this. This kit back almost 7 years ago, the kit cost me right around $1,400. But again, I'm using low amperage system here. I mean, it just draws very little amperage. And when I do the walk around on the camper in a video, I will explain why my system that I wired and set up for it is set up the way it is. Getting on to the next one is for cold weather camping. Let me get back to this issue. I run it off a 20-pound bottle with a splitter. And I tie the propane hose into this system, and then this 15-foot braided line, stainless steel line, goes for our propane pit. But getting on to the next one is the pop-up fire pit by Fireside Outdoors. I love this thing. We bought this thing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this year was the first time, these last 2 camping trips we've done were the first times that we got to use it twice. When we first got to use it, because all the other places that we always camped at, always had a rock ring. And so we usually just cleaned them out and built our fires in it, and this thing sat. So this year was the first time I was really amazed how well this pop-up fire pit works. And we were there one trip for 3 days, burned a lot of wood, and we had a little over 4 cups of ash by the time the end of our trip was over. I was totally amazed. And the heat, it burns everything down. I mean, total fine powder. Yeah. There wasn't no coals or remnants of wood or anything. It was all burnt down into a fine, like powdered sugar powder. Yeah. I was amazed about that. So, anyways. The next thing I want to talk about is same company, Fireside Outdoors, their Defender blanket. This is almost 11 years old. We use this thing, and I love this thing. In the wintertime, my wife and I, Sally, like to camp up on top of ridge lines. So we have those nice big views of the stars and the skies. But also when you're camping on ridge lines, you also have wind at times. And there's nothing worse when you're getting ready to go to bed and you don't want to douse your fire down because the next day you want to build that morning fire to sit around and have a cup of coffee on. This is where this thing shines. You can lay this blanket out. It's 68 inches by 60 inches, and it has a vent. So you can actually adjust the vent for how much air you allow in, and you cover over your coals. People are wondering, does it burn up? No, it's good up to 2,500 degrees. You stake it out on 4 ends and you're done. We also use this as when we're camping on ridge lines or on windy days as a windbreak for our fires. So it's set up, and I made some stakes out of some real thick all thread, and I welded on some hooks on there. I'll drive them in the ground, and I'll hook part of this up so it comes down, and I'll stake the other end so it's an L shape. But I usually have the inside of the fire blanket facing the fire, not the outside. And you'll see that in the video, in the pictures also. This thing is fantastic. Yeah. You don't have to go to sleep at night wondering if you're going to start the woods on fire. Fireside, they have it all together. They make a canvas bag. You get the glow-in-the-dark stakes. They even throw the gloves, fire gloves in there, and even a flashlight. And the case is awesome. We use this thing all the time. Starting fires. This is my fire starter kit. I use propane torch. And welder striker. To get the fire going, I use fat wood. I like fat wood because it starts the fire easy. I usually keep a nice big amount in it inside of a Ziploc bag. And I don't want to spend a bunch of time trying to start a fire. And it works very well. You get a chance, you can take these steaks from me too.
You betcha.
Thank you. Chainsaw. We always take a chainsaw with us. You never know when you need more firewood or a trail closure or blocking from a fallen tree or branch. And it seems we use this thing more than anything else when we're doing trails. I carry in my farm, that's all I ever use is Husqvarna. This is their 120i cordless. I carry 2 batteries. And it has a 14-inch bar. And this thing for cordless is a wood-eating son of a gun. It just works fabulous. And holds a charge, a good charge, and the battery doesn't wear down. Just a super saw. The only thing I don't like about Husqvarna, they're the most oil leaking thing. Reminds me of a Harley Davidson, the older ones. They just drip, 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 drip oil. But that's what I like about this. What falls to the next goes to our propane pit. I did a lot of research on propane pits, and what sold me on Ignik, the Firecan, was how small it was. This thing cranks out about 50,000, about 50,000 BTUs. It came originally with a little 5-foot hose. I put a 15-foot braided stainless steel hose on it with a new regulator. I also built a little rack in here from expanded metal so I could put their lava rock on there and keep it up off the burner. So there's a space in between, airspace between there. This thing here, when we, in the winter months, and we're staying in one spot for a couple of days, we'll have the awning out, and I'll put the awning walls, which are in here, on. And then I run this inside there. It heats that whole enclosed area in that awning area. And we're just as nice and toasty. We turn down to a nice low where you can barely see the flame pop out above. And the heat doesn't get so hot where it starts to, risk the chance of melting the awning. It's just a nice, great thing. I like the way it folds up. And again, Overland Gear Guy. He makes the cases for them. Everything I have, like I said earlier, has his gear or bags or pouches in them. I cannot say enough about his gear. It's phenomenal. It's good quality stuff. Mm-hmm. Some of it comes double lined, some of it's single. Like this is just a single lined one. Double handles. 2 zippers going around.
Yeah.
Custom label. Firecan. So you know what you're grabbing. You can get the bags in any color. It's just, I'm sold on this stuff and I'll continue to buy his stuff. Matter of fact, I just ordered some bags for our lanterns, our small lanterns. And we're going to be doing a video on lighting along with the campers lighting. And because we got rock lights up underneath here and whole 9 yards for my wife's audience. You know, it's a girl thing. Anyways, I wanted to cover this area on comfort and camp. I think it's something that's important. This is what keeps my wife coming out, is comfort.
Yes.
Because
that's
if
true.
she's cold and miserable, she doesn't want to come out. For me, you know, being an ex-deer hunter, whether I hunt here in the South or Western hunt over there in the West in Nevada or Arizona or wherever those other in cold months, us men, we have a tendency to put up with the cold a lot more than what women can. No offense, don't hold it against me.
No, that's true.
But if I could get her and keep her comfortable, she's going to keep on coming out with me. And the last thing I want to talk about, comfort. When I'm sitting around camp and I got my chair out, table, drinking some hot cider or hot chocolate or whatever, some kind of hot drink, warm my bones. I'm 66 years old. Reading material. I love reading. Every day I read my Bible. But I also read a lot of other stuff besides the Bible. And I find great comfort in that, especially if I have my nose in the Lord's word. You know, I find comfort. It gives me a lot more closer to him and why we're out there and doing the things that we do. You know, Harold from Runaway with H&K has this little quote he says about trail therapy. I can't agree more.
Yeah.
There's no better therapy than getting out there and God's creation, what we do, exploring and seeing all these sites that the other in this world doesn't get to see. Yeah. They only see it through pictures and videos. And you wonder how much they would really just love to get out there and see this. And this is what this is about, getting more people out there to experience what we see and what we feel.
Yes.
I hope this video, you guys like it. Give us a like, share, subscribe to our channel, comment on it. You know, this is a little bit more for us, Sally and I, to see how you guys look at us and what we've been doing, why we enjoy doing this, the overland and off-road and dispersed camping. Yeah. This is what it's about, just getting to know one another and getting ideas from each other. We don't have all the answers. We're still in this learning stage, you know, of off-roading and experiencing, because every time we go out, it's a new learning experience for us. Sure. Nothing's the same. Nothing's the same every time we go out. It's always different. Anyways, devotion. We appreciate you. And after the end of this video, stick around for the little devotion. I think you'll like it. God bless.
Thank you.
This devotion is coming out of the Old Testament. I'll be reading from Psalms 147:3. I'll be reading from the New Living Translation. He heals the brokenhearted and bandages their wounds. This verse expresses God's loving and caring nature, that He tends to our emotional wounds and brokenness. God's love restores our soul. This verse encourages us to turn to God for strength and trusting Him in His healing power. Psalms 147:3 reassures us of God's presence, that there is hope, restoration in a world where brokenness is common. The first part of this verse reassures us that God understands our pain, where the second part of the verse reminds us that God has a longing and a desire to restore our spiritual connection. Through faith, we can find peace, reconciliation during these times, knowing that our lives are in the perfect hands. When I think about this verse, I think about Lily, our rat terrier. When we first got her, we adopted her from an animal shelter. She was in bad shape. She was neglected. She was suffering from many physical issues and other issues, emotional. After the adoption, we immediately took her to our vet for a thorough checkup and evaluation. A blood panel was done. Everything under the sun was checked out on her. She had serious infections in her mouth. Her teeth were rotted. That led to infected gums, which she could have gone septic. She was deaf, which could have been in the infections in her ears, an enlarged heart, in the beginning stages of Cushing's disease. She was underweight due to the infections in her mouth. The vet also mentioned her saggy belly, which she figured that she was used as a breeder and most likely in a puppy mill. Lily's problems manifested by neglect, a lack of interaction, isolation, being caged. She was abandoned and dumped off after she was no longer useful due to her age. Someone found her wandering on the streets, where she ended up in the animal shelter. What the vet also noticed that she didn't know how to play nor have fundamentals of what normal dogs learn as puppies, playing, or what a toy is, or how to hold a dog chew with her front paws. She was shy, withdrawn, frightened, but not mean. She wasn't friendly nor happy. But 1 year, 5 months later, Lily is a completely different dog. Healthy. She loves. She is joyful, playful, and energetic. Her spirit soars with life and with purpose. She focuses on her purpose, which is companionship, pleasing Sally and I. She wakes us up every morning, giving us laughter and a loving environment. Lily's heart was broken, her spirit shattered. She was used, rejected, thrown out. She had no trust, no sense of real purpose. But when two people came to her rescue, love and kindness is the key factor in her restoration. A change happened, a healing took place, and a new life begins. Lily's life changed from darkness to light, and from hopelessness to purposeful. When I think about Lily's transformation from brokenness to wholeness, this verse above explains God's restoration. But it requires us to surrender our brokenness to God, trusting in Him, so our lives can begin healing, so we can encounter that deep sense of love and peace. With God, all things are possible, no matter how badly broken we are or how bad things are in life. Jesus is the comforter. A hurting heart can send us running down the wrong path. Jesus invites us to stop running so we can rest in Him. So if you have no idea what to say or how to reach out to God, you don't need perfect words to talk to Him. All you have to say is, God, this hurts. That's all you have to do. He is listening. I hope someone gets something out of this devotion. I really do. I want to thank you for listening to this devotion. God bless.